Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch Open. We are smack bang in the middle of the North American final. If you're just tuning in after 4 weeks, where on earth have you been? Because this, unfortunately, is week 4 of 4, where we decide all of the teams that are going into the playoffs in 2 weeks' time. Complexity currently 1-1 against Team Liquid. Complexity doing a very good job on Lijiang Tower. And we were sat there thinking, how are Team Liquid going to respond here? Oh my God, did they respond on Dorado?
They responded really well because, again, I think really one of the main reasons why they had problems in Lijiang is that they were outclassed a little bit in their tracer play, and that's a hero you don't want to be deficient on those maps. It's really bad. There's a little bit more to it than that overall, but in general, there's a lot of reasons as to why Liquid, they just did not quite have it on Lijiang, but they're a lot more practiced on the payload maps. In fact, in general, just as insight into scrim play, the payload maps are played much more heavily in scrims than your maps like Lijiang anyways, because teams do want to grind stuff out. So if there is any differences in how teams set up, how they've practiced and whatnot, it's going to come out more in payload. And for right now, it is looking very positive for Team Liquid indeed, as we wait to go into our third map, which will be another payload map.
Exactly right. Kings Row will be the map of choice for Complexity. Now, there is no other map option. Earlier in the day, we did have some very interesting maps. Dorado, 3 King of the Hills plus Temple of Anubis, your standard best of 5 pick. If you haven't watched the EU final, go look that up on YouTube a little bit later. But this, significantly more standard. 3 payload maps left. Sometimes I can count, and we will be going into Kings Row. I don't really know off the top of my head either team having a particular edge. You did mention before that, regardless of whether they know it or not, Team Liquid have at least statistically been all right on Dorado, and they certainly showed a great game there. Yeah. Kings Row, are we looking fairly even?
I don't think either team is particularly weak on this. And I would also say this, I'd expect both teams to put up decent times overall. Unlike Dorado, which has the possibility of first point holds, it is super rare to see it on Kings Row between 2 evenly matched teams, just because of the fact that the offense gets so many shots at it in general. So I would expect both teams to get through point A, maybe not super quickly at points, but at least get through it. And I don't expect holds here. I expect it to be settled just on time. You never know, but either way, I think it'll be close. It might even be within about a minute and a half, I would say.
That'd be pretty fun, actually. Let's try and think of something fun. Is there any particular hero that we might be on the lookout for? Are we, for example, seeing hooks from the high ground from Harblue on the first point or anything like that? Or are we actually going to be seeing a lot more standard? Is there anything you want to see?
We'll have to see. I mean, when it comes to Harblue, he always has the ability to mix in Roadhog on most maps. Kings Roads definitely can be effective. There are ways of making it work. Certainly in the Streets phase, there's a lot of ways of getting flanks off with Roadhog. However, one thing that might deter him from that, if it wasn't clear from the last map, is that part of why he died immediately on the defense coming out from Complexity is that Liquid just saw him off on the flank, off by himself. They marked him, threw in all their poke, and immediately took him out.
That's
and
true,
that effectively won the fight immediately. So, I mean, Roadhog flanking is great, but the other team is really keying into it. It's going to be rough. In fact, we look at the Complexity defense here. There is no Roadhog to be seen.
All right, so you're very right, actually. Harblue not just getting picked off. They were going, hang on a second, we're going Roadhog hunting here. So that was absolutely perfect. Kings Row now the map. Liquid coming on out. ID once again on a Junkrat. And we'll be seeing a lot of damage popping out there. Now, this is interesting because there are Zaryas on both sides, so potential for a lot of charge to build up very, very quickly now that the presence of the Junkrat is established. Both sides now really trying to establish dominance over the statue area so they can use it as a staging area for attack. Torque getting the first kill off on AZK. He will be able to respawn and join the team again soon.
Yep, and first kills here from defense, it's good, but you cannot celebrate. The respawns come in so quickly.
Yep.
Liquid, though, interesting stuff from ID. We have seen Junkrat on offense here before. It takes advantage of the fact that the defense is going to be pretty close together, and it does a lot to the Reinhardt shield. So right now, Liquid taking their time. They are pushing Complexity back, and they're about to have better positioning here in just a moment if they keep this up.
And I actually think ID is going to be able to put... Oh, hang on a second. We have a little bit of a collapse here. Everybody moving in onto Team Liquid. Now Complexity coming on in. Meza being the first person, and then Rafa going down. That's 2 tanks down for Team Liquid. The rest of the team are feeling pretty naked right about now, and that was an excellent collapse coming there from Complexity.
They had no choice but to collapse there. Let's point that out too, is that Reinhardt was getting pushed out. Liquid was pushing in even further. If they gave up more space, they probably weren't going to win that fight. They had to go in the way they needed to, and they did it successfully. They did not lose many people in the assault, and that was just well played by Complexity, but also well played by Liquid to put Complexity in that situation.
Torque now with Deadeye to try and zone stuff out to start off with. ID at the moment with the Riptire will get taken out. Now, the last time we've seen a satisfying triple kill off a Riptire, it is quite a little bit ago, but never mind. Torque JKW with an excellent Earth Shatter, but really good Transcendence timing. I have to say, coming out of the hang, he flies up on top of the statue, but it's completely flying. We are going to have to move back, though. There are a few picks from Complexity that have made this difficult, and should the hang have maybe saved the Transcendence with hindsight?
Maybe he should have there. I mean, honestly, it didn't seem like it was super needed after the Earth Shatter. They weren't really that much in danger, so I would say yes. Complexity, though, they are going to be coming in. They still have a lot of ults to their name for the next fight, though, so it's not too bad for what's going on. Taking a look here, they do have Death Blossom at the raid. They still have Graviton. And in fact, with a minute 40 left, Liquid, they're in some trouble here. They only have Earth Shatter and Riptire. They very well might get first health here, which is super rare, as I mentioned in the beginning of the cast.
Oh man, and here we go. ID trying to come in with a second Riptire. There's the Graviton Surge coming out for Hardblue. He has had basically full charge for the entirety of the last minute, but what an excellent Earth Shatter coming out of there from Team Liquid. They can't quite capitalize on that though, because that's a triple kill from Complexity, once again pushing Liquid back, and they have just over a minute now to capture point A.
Yeah, and here's the thing for Complexity. They don't have a whole lot of ults left here, but let's take a look at Nicholas. Nicholas holds within him the power to end this game if he drops in, especially before Minstrel Sound Barriers. So let's take a look at Nicholas. He's going to be looking to charge in and drop the Q. If he can do it before Minstrel Sound Barriers, there's a chance that it would be absolutely huge. But here comes the defense. They're rolling right in. They are going to drop the Death Blossom in just a moment. They open with the Deadeye. Torque takes out Mezar early on. The shield tank is down. 2 kills here from Torque in the back line. Down goes ID. It's a 3-1 advantage here from Complexity. And now Liquid, they might get one last ditch attempt at moving back in, but this is going from bad to worse.
While that was happening, by the way, Nicholas did get a double kill, but actually got 0 off of the Death Blossom. Both of those kills were from shotgun blasts afterwards.
Alrighty, so 23 seconds here. Liquid, they don't have time for finesse. They need to roll onto that point and hope for the best. Neither team really going to have ults for this, so doing this the old-fashioned way. Desperation coming out here from Liquid.
Torque getting a very nice, actually, sneaky position there to be able to provide covering fire. Gets spotted by the hang now, and Team Liquid have no choice to collapse onto the point. Are they going to be able to take this? This is very, very tense. Complexity with 2 members down to start things off, and Joe Meister could end up being critical there. Hardblue with the potential Graviton Surge. No, 4 get taken out. The Graviton Surge has no DPS follow-up, only Joe Meister left, and Team Liquid in overtime are going to be able to take point A.
All right, I am breathing a sigh of relief there, so I am not a liar, because first point holds on Kings Row, they almost never see them between 2 evenly matched teams.
It's true.
And Complexity came so close to actually doing that there. Liquid, though, coming in the last moment, but they have no buffer here at all. They only have 3 minutes to get through streets, and they'll get an extra 2 minutes at the very end, but they have to move, and they need to show a level of competency that they did not show in taking point A. Complexity will reset, and they're going to have a whole lot of ults up here in just a moment, not the least of which, of course, Earth Shatter and Transcendence, and they're moving right in. The aggressiveness of Complexity continues as they go deep into the backline.
Yeah, they're actually going all the way back into point A there, and Hardblue getting taken out by AZK. Maybe a little bit of a deep dive from Hardblue, unfortunately, on Winston, overextending ever so slightly and paying the price for it. And now they are going to go ahead and buy Team League with just a little bit of space. Excellent flashback over the top, but managing to get an Earth Shatter down as well to counteract that, and that's 2 kills for Team Liquid right now. ID continuing on Junkrat, getting those, and Rafa and ID combining. They get 4 between them. Complexity are going down.
Yeah, and here's one thing that gets brought up a lot is that when you're on defense, if you overextend into the enemy offense, when you have not gotten a pick off already, it is very dangerous, because if you are the first to die when trying to dive that deep, you will absolutely throw the rest of the push for your team. And here comes the Complexity. They're coming right back in. They don't have great positioning. They feed Rafa 2 kills to start it out. Hardblue does get on the hang, but everything else going in favor of Team Liquid here. AZK and ID able to clean up. And this is going from bad to worse for Complexity. After such a good first point hold, they are falling apart.
There needs to be a sign here that says, do not feed the Rafa. Both times now, he's been relatively instrumental in getting the first couple of kills off. Even if he doesn't get the last hit, he contributes a lot of that damage. And you know what a lot of it's actually been down to? ID's done a great job, but we should also point out that the Zaryas in this game have actually held an awful lot of charge, even though we don't have one on the side of Complexity at the moment. Hardblue going down very early on, or pardon me, taking out ID rather, and now we have another collapse coming in there, sensing the team advantage. Complexity going for the 6v5.
Yep, they're rolling right in, but it looks like they're going to back a bit out here, too. They're not going to overplay their hand. If you go too far out after a situation like that, it can be absolutely horrible. So good on the side of Complexity there, not to repeat their mistakes, not to overextend. Liquid, though, they're looking good for the next team fight. They will have Sound Barrier in the Transcendence, into Earth Shatter, should they wish. Both teams will probably drop the beat. Here comes the defense. They're being highly aggro once more, and Hardblue punished again. These over dives by Complexity are literally killing them right now. And also ID, 3 kills here from Liquid, and this is going bad the worst to Complexity.
Yeah,
right now.
you guys have Nick and Torque. Well, we have ID, and Ratha seems to be the answer from Team Liquid right now. And the payload continuing to push on in. This is basically in full stall mode. Ratha coming in with the Graviton Surge, trying to keep Reinhardt out from contesting the payload. We have actually got now Transcendence popping by. That will allow them to move on in. But Team Liquid are there ready to capitalize on this. Only AZK down for them, continuing to trade. The payload very close, about 3, maybe 4 seconds away from rolling on in, and that triple kill from Complexity gives them a stay of execution.
For Complexity, they definitely gave up way more space there than they needed to. They were able to bring it back off respawns. And now, at the very least, because of their really good first point hold, they still have a buffer of time here. Normally, there'd be something like 4 minutes left under normal circumstances where point A gets capped early, but they did burn off a lot of time, and for Liquid, this is effectively going to be their last good push where they can get solid positioning and go in. And they're setting up right now a lot on ID, who does have a death loss.
Can they build ult once? Can we get Minstrel up to Sound Barrier and then go in a second time, or is that really pushing it a little bit?
Right now for them, I mean, if they got wiped out right now, they'd have another chance, but this fight is probably going to take a while. This will almost certainly be their last good window. Maybe there's a last-ditch attempt if they fail, but here comes Hardblue. He is going to be aggressive on there once more. Joe Meister going down the ID in the back. 3 kills here from Team Liquid. They are bringing it right into Complexity. And Complexity don't have a lot of options here. Shake, of course, does the Transcendence, but it's late in the fight. He's going to die here in just a moment. And this is effectively stalled for Complexity. Maybe they have a chance to get back in on it, but it's going to be rough. And the Sound Barrier does come down late in the fight, but everything still going the way of Team Liquid.
AZK at the moment absolutely going ham on Tracer. No one really caring about him right now. Getting the Pulse Bomb up just to get a bit more damage done. And he's actually done a tremendous amount spotting the Horb there and managing to take off the opposing Tracer. That's May with an Ice Wall coming out now. A lot of stall coming out here. They only need to kill the majority of these guys once, remember, because it will take them a little while to spawn back in. But all of the kills are going the way of Team Liquid. Can they complete? Earth Shatter, though, trying to stop it. The Reinhardt take each other out, and JKW goes down, so managing to survive just a little while longer, and Team Liquid look like they're going to try and push through to the end.
Well, this is intense. This is coming down literally to the very end right now between both these teams. Liquid, they've been holding the momentum for the rest of this, but it is overtime. Complexity, they're responding. They're trying to fight it back. They're doing a handsome job at delaying, if nothing else. And really just AZK and ID on cleanup duty right now, trying to take out as many people as possible as the delay keeps coming in. But here's the really scary part here for the side of Liquid. They need someone on the point at all times, or overtime might end immediately. And did they cap that in the end?
By the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, they did cap it. They went to 3 because that's one of those things where the overtime was still showing for a split second, and sometimes it can end that abruptly.
There was once where the overtime bar stayed full and still finished. I feel like that might have been a visual bug. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I saw the payload roll in.
Yeah, it did. Well, it went to 3, so they got 1 for each point. So they did get 3 there. But we have seen plenty of times where you're just off the payload for a split second, and then it ends.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
the nature of
it goes down very, very quickly, doesn't it? Yeah, I didn't really spot that. I kind of sort of jumped to 0 there, but luckily Team Liquid are going to be able to set the time. It is a slow one. Oh, very nice jumping headshot, actually, at the very end there. Well, they will be able to make sure that time counts.
Time-wise, it's not just slow, it's beyond slow because it went deep in the overtime, both on point A and at the very end. So normally you have only 9 minutes to complete King's Row, but the time to beat here for Complexity is 9:43. So Liquid is going to have to hold on for an immensely long period of time here. For Complexity, you have to like their odds going into this. All they have to do is complete the map, which most teams do, effectively.
Have we seen a slow payload push overtime hold recently? I don't think we've seen one in the Overwatch Open. Wouldn't that be amazing?
This would be a really good hold by Liquid no matter how it goes down here, because I think, again, you crunch the stats on it where how much teams actually finish out King's Row. They usually do, and they usually do it in a much quicker time than 9:43.
That's right.
So I think Complexity is definitely favored here, and this is interesting what's coming out. Well, not really. JKW is just trolling us. He's almost always on Reinhardt. I really doubt he's going to open with Widow.
Don't believe
Be
it.
interesting, but probably
Don't
not.
believe the hype.
Take a look at the defense. There will be ID here on the Junkrat, Rafa on the Zarya, Dahang going to be on the Zenyatta, Minstrel on Lucio, AZK on McCree, and Mezler going to round things out here on the Reinhardt.
And JKW adopting Widow's slightly bigger cousin, I suppose. There is Reinhardt, of course, making his way into the fray, and Nicholas once more will be on Junkrat, which is interesting because I was expecting ID, I was watching ID, but Nicholas has gone for Junkrat on the offense as well. So both sides here respecting the Rat.
Yep, Junkrat, this is one of his better points. We've seen him on defense and a little bit more on offense as of late as well. And right now, both teams just trading off poke to start this out. Liquid probably winning that poke war a little bit more, but it is very close. Nicholas almost going down. There is action here in the hotel, but the action will be won by Liquid. 2 kills coming out from them. Torque getting in over the top does take out Rafa, but more kills than not going in favor of Liquid. But you have to win fights decisively as a defense here in King's Row. You'll lose the map or the point just by attrition alone.
Team Liquid now managing to hold the point, all 6 of them alive. A couple people may be running back at this point, but they will have time as we wait to see which route Complexity looks to take second time around. It doesn't look like ID's very interested in waiting, though. Riptire coming in the hotel. Of course, nobody from Complexity can see it yet, so this could come as a surprise, but once again, nobody getting taken out.
Alrighty, so ID once more fortifying the hotel, and this would be something here where, again, it was pretty rare to see Liquid put Complexity under the threat, or sorry, Complexity put Liquid under threat of a first point hold. They're going to try and do the same here on the Liquid side of things, and right now it's looking good for that. AZK able to take out Harblue. Not many ultimates up here for Liquid, but they do have the momentum on their side. They force Complexity back once more, and Complexity, they only have about 3 to 4 pushes left in them here. They have to be real careful that one of these next pushes actually works.
AZK taking out JKW with his Deadeye. That's a lot of 3-letter acronyms, but ultimately it results in a kill. Complexity now with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Don't forget, this was overtime on the first point in the first half, so, you know, anything can happen here. And yes, this isn't exactly one and done, but they still have time on their side. 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Let's see if they can do it according to this push here. We now have Transcendence being forced out from Team Liquid, and that was, by the way, after Complexity came out with Joe Meister and the Sound Barrier as well. Now they're trading kills 2-1 in favor of Complexity right now. Make that 3 as Harblue gets a kill as well, and Nick coming in to try and clean up. JKW doing his best to swing away, and that will be a successful take for the side of Complexity.
Let me just note here that was Complexity's window. Everyone had a lot of ults up on both sides. If both teams used all their ults there, and it turned out that Complexity was not able to take that point, the odds of them getting held on the first point would have skyrocketed dramatically. They were able to get through their window, and now they have a real shot of taking this map because they have 7 whole minutes to bring this from here to the end. Again, that means that they would have to use overtime as well. So for Complexity, things are still looking pretty darn good.
Exactly. They can basically stop the margaritas on the way at this point. They're looking very, very good. But, of course, at the same time, that's assuming that they set a time. Liquid, of course, going to be hoping that they don't actually get there in the first place. So if the street space ends up being successful for them, oh, and there we go. We have the kill from the Riptire. ID more or less plonking JKW on the head there. He's going to be waking up with some ibuprofen in the morning. And now we continue to move on in. That is 6v5 here in the street space.
Alrighty, so Nicholas right now does have Death Blossom at the ready, but pretty much the only big ult that's up here for Complexity. It's a little bit harder to get the big Reaper ults off on offense when you can't jump down from a position. They'll probably just speed boost him in here in a moment. They are looking for that opportunity. Rafa, though, can counter a speed boost with the Graviton. Graviton is going to come out from Rafa, does get people all hooked in. They're not able to get any kills off of it. In fact, Complexity is turning it back around in their favor. Harblue takes out Rafa. It's now 65 for Complexity, and they're 1 or 2 kills away from snowballing this very much in their favor.
This is very... Oh, hang on a second. Nicholas coming in with the Death Blossom, getting the triple kill, and now JKW helping to clean up as well. That was a breakthrough that Complexity needed to get through the streets. And Team Liquid now, they might have to hold on the last point for 5 whole minutes. One thing I wanted to bring up, actually, was that a lot of these Graviton surges, because Tracer isn't here, often Transcendence, instant, basically no one actually dies at the moment.
Right, and the one thing about that, of course, Deadeye can turn in your favor, and you can burst people down under certain situations if enough people are hitting them, but
sure,
it's pretty rare. But here comes the defense, or offense moving in once more. Sound Bear is on the way from Complexity. No kills from it yet. Liquid's handling this okay. ID will drop in the end. Complexity a little bit ahead as far as the poke war goes, but now 5v5. Liquid for now hanging in there. AZK will take out Nicholas, and this is very back and forth. Both teams fighting. Harblue just getting poked in the back by AZK, but the Transcendence from Shake should keep them in. Harblue with the Graviton just to make sure, sets up Torque for the triple. Now quad kill from Torque.
Oh, and Torque and Harblue combining there very, very well indeed. I should point out, by the way, Torque still has his ultimate available. All 4 of those, you would think it was a Deadeye from how quickly they came onto the kill feed. Nuh-uh-uh. Those were some fantastic headshots consistently applied.
So really here, this is one of the rare cases where the game clock actually means a little bit more than stopwatch. Here comes Liquid, the Earth Shatter has been dropped. Ezar knocks down at least 2, goes to the back line, doesn't have that much fall through, but he is his own fall through, makes it a triple kill from himself, and Liquid will hold this, but they gotta do that many more times here, probably at least 4, if not 5.
I mean, right now, you know, there are no ultimates for Complexity. They're going to have at least a couple of ult building engagements here. So it's not like they have a full 3-minute 30 where they're going to have an advantage. Even just the sound barrier from Team Liquid are going to give them a big up in the upcoming fight. Complexity need to start thinking about their ultimates. They need to build them. They need to work out how they're going to be staggering them and how they actually want to contest against Team Liquid. Joe Meister with 80% of his way onto sound barrier. That is not a good first pickup for Complexity. They need those support ultimates in the days ahead.
Definitely. One thing that's a little bit interesting here, it's not totally unprecedented, but Junkrat being used for this long. Usually Junkrat is the first point thing, but ID's saying, you know what, it's working out enough. I'm just going to stay out on the entire time. It's doing an okay enough job at holding out. We're going to be seeing a Riptire here in just a moment. It's going to climb the wall. There it goes. Riptire on the way. Will be able to drop in. No, he doesn't climb the wall. He's going for the full frontal approach. Does not get what he's looking for. Deadeye comes out here from AZK, looking to zone back the offense. No kills yet here for the defense, but oh no, Joe Meister gets caught at the very end. And if he had lived there, this could have been an entirely different fight for Complexity. Now they have to win the 6v5.
And he actually has his ultimate available as well, so if he manages to speed boost out, he will be able to use this, but it's, again, very, very difficult because it's actually already starting fantastic. Earthshatter completely not only isolating Harblue, he goes down, Shake and JKW down as well, and now we are down to 2-10. Good news for Complexity, though. We were building up the fact that they needed to grab those ultimates. They have got 4, and it will be going on to 5, potentially 6.
Well, we bring this up a decent amount of time, but that was a productive wipe for Complexity. They died, but they forced out a whole lot of ultimates. Rafa now, a lot of pressure on his shoulders to really be the one that puts us in Liquid's favor, but the ult comes out.
Oh my god.
But look at ID firing right back, able to get the triple kill. And it doesn't matter, the Harblue had a good Graviton there.
That was ID. I mean, this is what happens when splash damage absolutely hits everybody at once. Very, very disgusting stuff. Harblue actually switching on to Winston, by the way, and Shake, of course, using his Transcendence in the middle of that. So only 3 ultimates available for Complexity now.
I think what happened there is that everyone rushed in to fall up that Graviton surge, and they ignored ID, and ID was able to just turn it on them in a flash. Here comes Complexity, though. Soundbearer on the way. AZK can answer, takes out Nicholas. 5v5, 5v4 now in favor of Complexity. Torque on a rampage in the back. Harblue will go down. It's not over yet. Here comes the Tire. Tire not getting anything. It is back and forth between these two teams. ID, though, still at full HP. A nice concussive fight. Does all sorts of damage to the back line, but ID into Hang will fall, and this might be the victory run here for Complexity. They do eat the Earth Share from Mezar, but they have a big numbers. Goodness, Mezar, he's still going in.
Yeah,
gets 2 people from that, and Liquid might actually hold.
That Earthshatter was really good, by the way, in terms of positioning there. Able to grab the critical points there to allow them to keep holding for a little while longer. We're now actually down to 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's basically 45 seconds worth of overtime. And Team Liquid here, after setting the slowest time we have seen here in a while, might be able to defend. We're coming in now. A Transcendence from both sides simultaneously. No kills in the death feed yet, but we're going to see them start stacking up soon. Harblue goes down first. That is a big tag for Complexity. 6v5 now on the point.
Liquid is just a few kills away from having this legendary hold. There's 10 seconds left. Complexity will not get another chance here. It is back and forth. Torque in the backlines with 3, trying to bring them back in. 3 members left for Liquid, but they are knocked down by JKW. The Earth Shatter leads the way. Torque with the fall through, and that is going to be map to Complexity after a very drama-fueled last push.
I mean, it was technically within a minute, but frankly, both teams completing in overtime. What a tense map we had here on Kings Road. Complexity just about managing to squeeze out the win. Both teams with excellent holds at times on the first point, but it was really the last point that defined the pushes for both sides.
I would say for here, this is a little bit of a heartbreaker here for Liquid because their defense was super solid, and it was a balanced super solid defense, and it wasn't all on point A. It was good mostly throughout, especially on last. Whereas when you look at the defense that came out from the side of Complexity, they had a brilliant point A defense, but that's more on Liquid not executing on point A. You should be able to take point A quickly. So for Liquid, if their point A game was just a little bit better, they probably win this map. So I think when Liquid goes to VOD review, they're going to be a little bit sad at the outcome as it was.
Very, very tight, and a lot of that did go down to point A, like you said. Just being able to wipe the team again and again and again, going into overtime and risking the full hold on the first point. Very, very tricksy for them. They do manage to set that time, and they probably did go into at least 30 seconds of overtime, if not slightly more on the first point as well. And how much did Complexity win by? Something like 43 seconds, so it would have been extremely close.
Yeah, it was like 43 seconds, something like that. But really, I mean, when you have set time that long, it's really about can you just hold them within the game clock, which Liquid came incredibly close to doing. However, we are going to be taking a quick break. We'll be right back with map number 4 and what has been proving to be a very exciting series. This is the Overwatch Open. We'll be back soon.